Put on your hard hat and buckle up that tool belt. It's time for some heavy-duty conversation about all things Tampa Bay. Welcome to Tommy's Toolbox, the podcast, Season 2. I'm Tommy Whitehead, the CEO and founder of TomCo Solutions, where we're not just construction and financial experts, but passionate advocates for our thrilling community here in Tampa Bay, Florida. As a construction pro and proud Tampa Bay resident, I'm excited to shine a spotlight on our region. Whether you're a longtime resident or considering a move to Tampa, get ready to uncover some hidden gems and fascinating insights about our beloved hometown. Sitting with me at the drafting table today is Austin Gappelberg, co-CEO of the Hampton Chocolate Factory. Today we'll be diving into what it's like to be a young entrepreneur in Tampa Bay. Listen in as Austin, not to be confused with Willy Wonka, created a successful chocolate empire by working hard and harnessing the power of strategic relationships. Welcome, Austin.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Anytime a chocolate professional wants to be in the podcast, that's like a guarantee.
Makes it a little bit sweeter, right?
It makes it a little bit sweeter. I like it. But the samples were lacking this morning, sir.
You are right. Is it a little early, though, for chocolate?
I don't think that's a thing.
Maybe not.
If you could start doing 7 a.m. chocolate sales right now, wouldn't you?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Right. I would, for sure.
So, Austin, tell me a little bit about yourself. Where are you originally from?
Yeah, so I'm from New York, up in the Hamptons. I grew up there for 20 years of my life. And how did I end up in Tampa, right? New York to Tampa, it's a little bit of a drive or a quick flight. My family moved to Naples 2.5 years ago, so I transferred schools. I was at the University of Delaware, saw an opportunity to come down to Tampa. And to be honest with you, this was all during COVID. So if you can imagine, the University of Tampa's campus completely empty. I drove by it, knew nobody, knew nothing, but I took the chance. Here I am today.
That's awesome. So UT alum now.
UT alum.
That's great. That's great. Can you tell our listeners a little bit of the story about how your brother and you started the Hampton Chocolate Factory?
Yeah, so the Hampton Chocolate Factory actually was a family business up in the Hamptons. Started in 2014, and my brother and I was 13, he was 11. We were there since we were very, very young and very immature too. We were eating all the chocolate. That was pretty much our job in the beginning. And eventually we opened up some stores in the Hamptons alongside our parents, and it was really a great learning experience. And when we moved down to Tampa, I was a senior at the University of Tampa and my brother a freshman, and it was that perfect opportunity to open up the Hampton Chocolate Factory in Tampa.
That's amazing. So was your family in the chocolate business prior to that, or was the Hampton Chocolate Company, it was the first foray into confectionaries? Yeah,
I mean, the Hampton Chocolate Factory, the idea behind it was founded to be a brand that represents the luxury and taste of the Hamptons, right? So if you've ever heard of the Hamptons, it's ultra premium luxury, celebrity, Jay-Z, Beyonce, that's the Hamptons. So the idea isn't necessarily the chocolate, but it's that chocolate being the tool to help be a brand that represents the luxury taste of the Hamptons. And what does chocolate really do? Makes people happy.
That's incredible. So this idea came from trying to convey a family business. This idea came from conveying luxury from the Hamptons. And you did this all in COVID.
Yeah.
You started this all in COVID, right?
Yeah. We opened up the store in Sparkman Wharf in January of 2022. It's hard to remember that far, but there was not much going on. It was just after COVID had pretty much ended. I think we were still tasked to wear masks in the beginning, but people started realizing that the Hampton Chocolate Factory was a destination. They needed to open the door and come in.
That's incredible. And Sparkman is kind of a new development in itself. It's only a few years old. It used to be the old Channelside district. They demolished part of the building. They rebuilt it. They did this shipping container type motif outside on the waterfront and really opened it up. How did you feel about being an anchor tenant in what was a brand new untested shopping area?
It's a great question because especially, imagine coming from New York, knowing nothing about Tampa, and a realtor showing us this location. We're thinking to ourselves, this is crazy. There's nobody on the street. It's the middle of August. There's nothing going on. But, there's real big power behind the whole Water Street district, Gates and Vinnick. Gates and Vinnick being, very successful business people, there had to be something good going there. 2.5 years later, it ended up being a good decision.
That's incredible. And you get to open your doors and look outside, and you're looking at the water.
Yeah. Not a bad view.
It's not a bad view at all. So you get to dine on some chocolate and see the water every day. That's quite incredible. How did the University of Tampa help you grow as an entrepreneur?
The University of Tampa was foundational to my success. I mean, I transferred there as a junior, and I knew nobody, I knew nothing. My personality, I'm not going to sit and not talk to anyone. So I went up to the Spartan Accelerator room, I went up to the Entrepreneurship Center, and I went up to the front desk. I said, hey, I'm a new transfer student. How could I get involved? I got involved. The amount of other mentors I've met at the University of Tampa is tremendous. I mean, the biggest success from the University of Tampa for me has been the network. But the network is only there if you utilize it. And you have to put yourself out there. You have to be willing to feel uncomfortable. You know, being a college student, now being an alumni, but still in my early 20s, talking with people in their 50s, 60s, 70s, very successful business people, you have to feel uncomfortable, because if you're not uncomfortable, you're really not growing.
So Austin, you touched on something that is instrumental, and you learned it very early in life. Things don't just come to you. No. You have to push yourself, get out there, push yourself in your uncomfortable area, in your uncomfortable zone, and make something work for you. And you did that. You didn't just expect somebody to come and say, hey, how can I help you today? You said, hey, how can I help myself today? And that is very, very commendable. Most entrepreneurs don't get that until much later in life. So you really, really are ahead of the game with that. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
So what is your favorite part about living and working here in Tampa Bay?
You know, I love this question because I'm from New York, right? My simple answer is the quality of life and the quality of the people. New York is fun, but it's not as fun as Tampa. And what I mean by that is I'm able to go for a run every morning and it's 70 degrees. Even in the winter, it might be in the 50s, but I can wear a sweatshirt and not be freezing. Or I can go out, meet people, and they're saying hi to me like I'm their friend. In New York, that just doesn't happen, unfortunately. You know, the quality of the people, quality of life here in Tampa is something that, honestly, I would never replace.
That's incredible. You know, I also love that there is no shoveling snow here.
There is no shoveling snow.
I'm actually rare. I actually grew up in Florida. I was born here.
Okay.
And so almost everybody else, like yourself, transplants. They get tired of whatever that is and decide to come to Florida. So I grew up here. I've shoveled snow once. Yeah. And by once, I mean I did one scoop and I said, I'm out. It's not happening. I am not moving to anywhere where it snows ever. So I hear this all the time. You know, Tampa Bay is growing. They love the weather. They love the personality. It's a little bit of Southern charm and a little bit of big city charm. That's awesome to hear that you enjoy your experience here in Tampa. So Austin, tell me, what drives you? What's your favorite part of the day? Kind of gets you out of the bed in the morning?
Yeah, I've really developed a true passion for building relationships. Getting out there, meeting people, networking. I really didn't know what to do. Just like, you know, an entrepreneur without a plan, what do? They just get out there and figure it out. So that's what I did. I just got out there, figured it out, met people. As I always say, just have a conversation. You don't know where that conversation is going to take you. And what drives me is continuing to build more relationships, you know, meeting other people, and continuing to see how I can help them. You know, it's always a question of how can I help you? It's never a one-sided opportunity. It's a win-win. And the relationships, that's been the core to my success and my growth in Tampa. And I'm excited to continue to grow my personal brand and the Hampton Chocolate Factory brand to become a 100-year generational legacy brand with destination stores in every major city across the U.S., becoming the gift of choice, just like a brand like Harry and David. So in 100 years from now, the Hampton Chocolate Factory will be the household name.
That's ambitious, but in my experience, if you speak it, it can come true.
Yeah, that's the way it works.
That's incredible. That's incredible. What would you say is the most exciting new project you've heard about in Tampa Bay? Whether it's like a new development or a new business or new personality in the area, what drives you as exciting?
Yeah. So before the Addition was up, it was the Addition because we were right there in Channelside, Water Street. I would say now the Pendry is something that's really exciting, and I think that, you know, it's in an interesting spot in town, right along the Riverwalk there, but I think it's going to bring a lot of high net worth and uber successful people, and they're going to feel more comfortable. I think that's what the Addition did too. You know, these high-end 5-star hotels or residences, they bring those caliber people to the district, and it's only making it more affluent and more welcoming to everyone there already.
And that leads into the live, work, play philosophy that so many architects are going towards now. And if the listeners aren't familiar with that, that's where you can live in the same district that you work and also socialize or play. Live, work, play. You don't have to worry about driving 30, 45, 50 minutes to go to the next venue or destination. It's literally walking around your neighborhood and having this whole experience almost at your fingertips without the need to get in your car and go somewhere.
Yeah. I don't go out much, but I have access to all of the restaurants in Water Street. And I personally believe that Water Street's becoming kind of a foundational part of Tampa. I think that all the development, all the money they're putting in there, and their plans to continue through, I think they just finished phase 1 out of a 3 or 4 phase project. So things in the next 5 years are really going to get exciting.
That is incredible. So it sounds like you're really up on the Water Street District, which your business is in. It would make sense. Do you attend development meetings or economic impact summaries on that area? How do you keep up with the trends in your area?
Yeah, I think, again, it comes back to going to events. I mean, I go to the Economic Development Council events. I think they have them either quarterly or semi-annually. And also, talking with our landlord, we're always asking what's going on, what are the plans, because as a business owner in that district, you have to be planning for the future. You have to know what's going to happen 5 years out, because if you're not thinking ahead, you're really behind. So thinking ahead is really a core part, especially in retail, because you just don't know what's going to happen.
And that's outstanding. You mentioned talking to your landlord, because most of us write a rent check and we don't talk to anybody. It's an ACH. It's not a check anymore. Yeah. Back in the day when I was your age, we'd write a check. You guys, just have ACH now. But most people don't think of their landlord, especially their commercial landlord, as a resource, because that landlord has a vested interest in what's happening in that community, because that's rent dollars for them. Yeah. If you're doing better, the development's doing better, they get premium rent dollars. So that's a great resource, and I commend you for looking at something that's a little bit outside of the box to actually go and talk to somebody that, hey, that's their job, that's their money, to be expert on everything within a few blocks of where you're renting. So that's just showing a lot of foresight on your part. So that's great. In your opinion, what makes Tampa an attractive location for new development?
I would say, again, it comes back to the people. In business, in growth, people are everything. And I think the quality of the people here is really absolutely amazing. Quality of the people being high-level people, hard workers, and people that are really just living a happy life. And I feel like if you're living a happy life, everything that you do around your happy life is just going to be productive, efficient, and in the end, effective. So I think that the people and the businesses coming here are really doing it because the people, and they see the growth opportunity. They know that Tampa's just in the beginning phases of a long-term journey. Tampa's going to be one of the biggest cities one day, but we're just getting started.
You sound like you have found your home for life. It sounds like you really enjoy it.
I'm not going to commit to anything, especially on public, but I really am enjoying Tampa right now. That's for sure. I don't think, I definitely wouldn't move back up right now. I mean, I think that Tampa is it's been foundational for my early stage success, and I'm not going anywhere.
That's awesome. It's kind of cool. You got to see the simile in Tampa growing and you're growing at the same time, both being newer, both being younger in relation. Tampa is not a brand new city, but it's a young city compared to New York. Yeah. And you're newer in your career and already excelling, being a co-CEO at your age, which is how old, by the way?
I'm 23.
23 co-CEO sitting across the table from me. That's so impressive. And so it sounds like Tampa definitely seems like a place for you, and that's incredible. And I'm happy to see this young entrepreneurial spirit coming out, because we have people that don't start entrepreneurialism until much later in life, and you're just like, nope, that's exactly what I wanted to do. That's how I wanted to be.
Yeah, it's in my blood. My dad's a serial entrepreneur. I mean, I've had businesses before, and I've never seen myself doing anything other than being an entrepreneur.
That's incredible. Can you give us a name of a person or business maybe that's thriving right now here in the Tampa Bay area? Somebody that you think is an equal, or somebody that you look up to that you might want to spotlight?
There's a new organization, I believe they're a nonprofit, and it's called Tampa Entrepreneurs. Okay. You may or may not have heard of them. I think they started up a year ago or so, and what they're doing is, and it comes back to people. They're building a community of entrepreneurs locally here in Tampa, and I think what they're doing is tremendous. I think that they're bringing the right like-minded people together so that they can continue to build more relationships, network, and meet those, new potential partners, new potential friends, new potential opportunities, and have those conversations. And I think they host quarterly events, and, that group of individuals, I think they're doing something that really has a purpose behind it. And I wanted to bring that up because I think everything really is about your why, your purpose behind it, and bringing like-minded entrepreneurs all in one area. definitely has a purpose.
Now, that's the second time you brought up something with economic development. That's pretty important, right?
Yeah.
Everybody thinks you just start your business and you go out and market, but there's so many other resources out there, and most of them, or many of them, are free.
Yeah.
These economic council meetings, the USF Small Business Development Centers around that gives free consulting, the SCORE programs give free consulting. These nonprofit startups most of the time give free consulting, these incubator programs. What do you think that says about Tampa, that now we hear things like Tampa Bay Wave, we hear the Economic Development Council, we hear the USF Small Business Development Center over and over again? We're hearing about economic growth here in our region. What do you think that says about us?
I think it says that there's a really deep foundation of people. I think that the resources are there, but like we talked about in the beginning, you have to go use them. They're not going to be, no one's going to reach out to you to help, but they're waiting for you to ask them to help. And you just have to go find them. And I think that taking the opportunity is going to be what makes you 10 times better.
Don't be too proud to ask for help.
Yes, always ask for help.
I think that applies to every age range, every type or part of your career. If you don't know, ask for help. Usually there's somebody out there that can give it to you and make you a better entrepreneur, better employee, better whatever that is. This city has been growing rapidly. How do you see the future of Tampa changing over just like the next few years?
Yeah, so I'll go back to what I was saying about, the phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 in that Water Street district. I think Ybor is really the next biggest opportunity, and I think they're going to work on developing that area. So it becomes, at night a little bit more safe and a little bit more friendly to a different demographic. I think that Ybor is going to kind of become part of the city, Water Street, and I think they're planning on connecting it with whether it's the Riverwalk or the trolley, it already is connected. And now it's kind of just bridging that gap between, the experience you're going to get on Water Street and the experience you're going to get on Ybor. And don't get me wrong, Ybor is pretty cool. It has all the historical spots and all of that amazing stuff. But I think that they're going to kind of bridge that gap so people can, feel comfortable taking families from Water Street to Ybor on a Saturday night.
Got it. They want to keep it party friendly, but they want to tune it down a little bit to make it a little more family friendly.
Tune down the radio a little bit.
Just a little bit. And Daryl Shaw's got a lot of huge plans out there. I mean, in Tampa in general, but he's really targeted Ybor to make it the next Water Street type district.
Yeah.
And so I think it's going to be fascinating what we see out there in just the next few years. Let's say that I am somebody who is aspiring to be in your position, especially at your age. What are 3 tips that you would give young entrepreneurs who are just starting out? They're kind of new, they don't know what to do. What would you tell them?
Yeah, so the first thing, I'm very passionate about self-development and constantly improving. The idea of continuous improvement, and for me, that comes from reading books. I'm an avid reader. I'm passionate about reading, whether it's every night before I go to sleep, in the morning, throughout the day. I think that reading from other people's experiences allows you to level yourself up without having to experience those things. So that would be my first thing. My second thing would be continuing to build your network. The cliche idea of your network is your net worth, but it is absolutely and utterly true. And again, it comes back to relationships. Who do you know? How can you help them? Because eventually there's going to be an opportunity where we were talking about before, you have to ask for help. And they're the person that you actually need to ask. And the third thing I would say is get out there and just try it on. What do I mean try it on? Before you buy a shirt, you have to try it on, make sure it fits. But you don't know it fits until you try it on. So you just have to try stuff, see if it works, get customer feedback, listen to people. See what they say, because in the end, they're going to be the ones paying you. They're going to be paying the bills. They're going to be building your team. So just try it on.
That's great. So you're saying that lifelong education, you don't just stop at college and you're done. That's just the beginning.
Yeah.
You keep on meeting new people. If you've met enough new people, no, you haven't.
Yeah.
Keep meeting new people with no intentions, right? Don't go out and try to sell yourself to the world. Just go out and meet new people and try it out. If there's something new and you don't know if it'll work out, give it a shot. See if it works for you. It may not work, and that's okay, but you have the experience of trying something new and exposing yourself a little bit to a new world, a new culture, a new individual, and gaining that knowledge so that you can move along and try on the next thing and the next thing and the next thing until you find what really, really fits for you.
Absolutely.
Those are great tips, Austin. What is it like working with your brother every day? And what are some tips for working in a family business? I know I love my sister, and I don't think I could work with her every day. So you got to have a pretty great relationship with your brother to do that, or you guys just stay on different sides of the store. I'm not sure, but it's got to be creative. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think one of the benefits of working with my brother Grant is we have different strengths, right? Gratefully, we have different strengths, because if we were both working towards the same thing, we had the same expertise, then I'm sure there would be a little bit more of butting heads. But to be honest with you, it's a flawless synergy. I mean, we both have, and after 2.5 years of working alongside each other, and don't get me wrong, the first 90 days, 180 days, there was a little bit of bumping heads, but all it is just learning. And we've figured out how to flawlessly work alongside each other to make sure that we're working towards the same goal. And it comes to this idea of a mastermind alliance. You both have the same vision, we both have the same goals, and we're both just helping each other get there. And that's really what we're doing. And it's an amazing synergy, and honestly, I couldn't ask for anything more.
That's incredible. And so to make that synergy work, do you guys have your defined tasks?
Yep.
You take XYZ, he takes ABC, and stick to your lane a little bit?
I'll eat the chocolate, he'll eat the ice cream, and we're good to go.
But, okay, that's excellent. That's exactly, are you hiring right now?
Yeah.
Because if that's what you need, I mean, I got some expertise in both of those.
Cool. That's funny.
I think we both can confidently say we place a great emphasis on community within our work. I mean, it is absolutely core to what I do as a contractor and an equity fund manager. I'm very serious about my community. Can you tell me more about your corporate gifting and relationship building programs? How do you take it, not just make it a sale, but actually make it building a relationship?
Yeah, absolutely. And, I want to tell the story kind of behind this because it's fascinating. So when I was at the University of Tampa as a senior, I saw an opportunity to add to the Hampton Chocolate Factory's pre-existing business model. We didn't do any corporate gifting. That was non-existent. So I told my professor, who said to me specifically, Austin, you can't work on a pre-existing business. I said, Kostas, this isn't pre-existing. It's a completely new vertical in the business. Anyway, he said, okay. Recruited the smartest students in the class, who I'm still friends with today. We created this 100-page business plan that ended up winning first place at University of Tampa's Venture Expo pitch competition. And most importantly, a plan is just a plan until you execute. What did I do? I executed. So the Hampton Chocolate Factory, we've created this easy gifting program where essentially you're investing in your relationships. And the idea and our point of difference is a seamless gift-giving experience, right? A gift is a gift, but how can you create an experience with that gift? And we have some exciting stuff we're actually implementing in our gift boxes this year, and I feel like I can kind of allude to that a little bit, get people a little bit excited. And when I was saying customer feedback before, this kind of ties right in. People told me they would enjoy their gift box and they would pick at it every day and it would kind of be an experience. So we're creating a chocolate tasting experience. With each gift box, you have the ability to choose 1 to 3 different flavor profiles on a daily basis. And that gift box, that gift, turns into a gifting experience. And what are people going to think with each bite of chocolate? They're going to think about who gifted them that gift box. And that is going to build the relationship. And again, it really comes back down to authentic relationships, long-term relationships. Gifting, it's really investing in your relationships. It's not sending a gift. Every single gift you send is just going to enhance your relationships. And what we do, easy gifting, how do we make it easy? And I was actually explaining this to somebody the other day, and they sat back in their seat. And they said, I've never heard of such a thing. That would save me a lot of time. It's simply an easy order form, exporting your addresses from an Excel, sending it to us. You don't have to place 50 or 100 different orders. All you do is just send us that Excel with the addresses, your gift of choice, and if you want any custom boxes or anything like that. And then we handle the rest.
That's great. And you can even, I'm assuming, like if you want to go further and say, hey, this is the flavor profile I want a gift, you can do that. So if you know somebody is really into citrus or really into caramel, you can make those experiences even more custom for them if they choose.
Absolutely. It's all about the customization and the personalization. That's what's going to take your gift from a 9 to a 10.
That's incredible. I think one of the biggest takeaways I had from this, though, is that you went to somebody more senior, more experienced, and said, this is what we want to do. And they said, no, that's not going to work. That's what happened. They said, no, that's probably not going to work. And you said, no, it will, and here's how, and I'm going to prove it. And you did 100 pages to prove exactly how this is going to work. So that's incredible. You were told no, nah, You were told that by somebody that's your senior, somebody that's a college-educated professor, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah.
That has a lot more experience in this. And you said, no, still think it's going to work, and here's how. You didn't take that as a detractor. And I think that's a huge takeaway from this and for young entrepreneurs is just because you're told no doesn't mean it's not a good idea.
Yeah.
Maybe you have to work on it harder. Maybe you have to really prove it. It's not just a gut feeling. You did your research, right? You did your homework. You got help in your class. You made an award-winning business plan out of it. You proved it worked, and now here you are implementing that. That's very, very commendable. So just remember, somebody telling you no doesn't mean the idea is bad. Somebody telling you no means you've got to really prove yourself, and you can do it. What is some advice you have for building relationships and networking? Like even more specifically, are there any groups you wanted to give a shout out to here in Tampa? You mentioned a couple before. Is there anybody else that comes to mind?
Yeah, so I will shout out a group specifically and, a person specifically because they've been tremendous to my help. Tampa Bay Business and Wealth and Bridget Bello, Jason Baker over there. When I first came to Tampa, I was introduced to Bridget through a friend of mine, and not knowing anyone, not knowing anything, I said to Bridget, I'm trying to get involved in the community. Honestly, I didn't know what Tampa Bay Business and Wealth was. She says, well, we host monthly events, and, if you want to set up a chocolate table, that would be completely okay with me. So that's what we did. And I've been to at least 15 or 20 different Tampa Bay Business and Wealth events since then. And I've said to Bridget over and over again, I'm so grateful for the opportunity they've given me. It's been absolutely foundational to my strategic networking and strategic relationship building in the city of Tampa. And, every time I go to an event, I meet different people. And, of course, share it on LinkedIn. And now what I'm doing is I'm tracking how many new relationships am I accounting for at each event, because it's a compound effect. Right? Warren Buffett says, his book Snowball, imagine a snowball rolling down the hill. That's kind of like each person you meet. The snowball keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. You have more momentum as you're rolling down the hill. And the more people you meet, the more relationships you build, the faster that snowball and the bigger it's going to get.
Yeah, Bridget is phenomenal. She has a great publication. I've been honored in her magazine before. I love the way she conducts it, and I'm glad to hear that she's working with new and emerging businesses, because obviously she saw some talent. I mean, our listeners alone can hear the talent that you're presenting, but she saw it early on and got you out there. So that's a big shout out to her and her publication. What's the craziest story you've ever heard of in your industry, or maybe even the construction industry? Because I'm a contractor. I'm a little outside of the box, a little bit of a disruptor, but and that's how we met.
Yeah.
But do you have a funny or crazy story in your industry, in the construction industry, or maybe even a funny joke?
Funny joke. I didn't know I was a jokester, but I can try to come up with something.
I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah. I'm not going to say a joke, but I do have a story.
Okay.
It's honestly kind of related to my business and it's kind of related to construction, so I'm going to intertwine the two.
Okay, I like it.
So when we first opened up the store, we didn't have an architect.
Okay.
We didn't have we had contractors that we basically worked with. And Grant, my brother, he was our GC, I think is the term, right?
Yes.
He was the general contractor. So
Okay.
we had no guidance. I mean, to be honest with you, we went to an architecture firm and they denied us because we were so young. They said, we're not going to work with you, because they didn't tell us we're immature, but that was obviously what they were saying without saying it. Mm-hmm. So, I remember specifically, this, maybe this is hilarious, but they were cutting the counter in our store, and, with no GC and no experienced leadership, I remember seeing these guys walk out of our store covered in dust. I've never seen anything like it. It was like they were in a dust cloud, and the store was completely dusty. And
that is true. So many people try to circumvent and say, I've got a guy that can do it cheaper. And they do have a guy that can do it cheaper for twice as long and half the quality.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it makes a difference. So, to that architecture firm out there whom we're not going to name, you missed out on a great opportunity helping these two wonderful entrepreneurs start what is becoming quickly a household name. Or at least an office name here in the Tampa Bay area. So, their loss, but you obviously, I've been to the location several times. You obviously got your store up and running. It's beautiful. You do a great presentation. And so I'm really happy for you and your brother and what you're doing here for the Tampa Bay community.
Thank you.
Welcome. Thanks for a job well done, Austin. Thank you so much for joining us for Tommy's Toolbox, the podcast. If you have any questions about my company, TomCo Solutions, the construction industry, or private equity investing here in Tampa, please be in touch or visit TomCoSolutions.com. My contact information is in the episode description, and I'll put Austin's there as well. We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, thank you again. I'll look forward to seeing you at the construction site for the next episode of Tommy's Toolbox, the podcast. Hi, everybody. Tommy Whitehead here. Have you heard about my book, Building Success, A Toolbox to Coming Out on Top? It's already been on the Amazon best-selling list. So scan that QR code on your screen or go to Amazon or any major retailer to get your copy today. I can't wait to hear what you think. So leave a comment below or leave a review with your thoughts.